Hey, good morning. This is Dave Pearson. I'm the Regional Educator for L'Oreal Professional. And today I'm going to be demonstrating a dimensional color using Majirel Glow. So, who's in? Are we ready to learn today? I'm going to be using two different colors of Majirel Glow. And it's always helpful when you're doing these little tutorials. I write my formula on the box, which makes it super helpful. So I'm going to be using Majirel Glow L18, so light, which is for levels 6 through 9. L18, so L is light, 18 is blue mocha. All right, and I'm using that with 30 volume. So my formula for that is 26 grams of Majirel Glow, and I'm using 39 grams of 30 volume Majirel. So it's a 1 part color to 1.5 parts developer. All right, and my second color is going to be Majirel Glow as well, but I'm using a dark 01. And so the darks are for levels 2 through 5. But wait a minute, she's a level 7. So this is not really meant for her, but as with most colorists, I'm going to break a rule. So what I did was I mixed 26 grams of the D.01 with 20 volume, again 39 grams of the 20 volume, and then what I did was I mixed in a 1/4 tube of clear on top of that mixture as a mixer. So what I want to do is lighten up the intensity of that dark 01. So ready to get started? Let's see if we have any questions real fast. Let me just jump in here. Hey everybody. I'm also going to go back and do like a question and answer segment towards the end, so I'll try and catch up as well. So I don't see any questions, but thank you for joining. All right, so this is my model Ellie, and she has a fresh haircut. I gave her a haircut yesterday. I also gave her a slight root shadow yesterday as well, and I did that using Dior 6N with 9 volume, and I left it on for 20 minutes. So I just wanted to add a little bit of dimension on her root. I'm not going to be touching her root today, so our dimensional colors all going to go on her mids and ends. Because what you know about Majirel, it's an ammoniated hair color, and one of the #1 rules of color is that color doesn't lift color. So I did want a shadow root, it's for dimension, and then we're going to use the Majirel Glow to actually create additional dimension. Now, this particular Ellie has also received some highlights in the past using Blonde Studio 9, which is amazing. So I'm going to accentuate what she already has and just take it a little bit further with adding this dimensional color. So just a bit about Glow. It is 4 times more translucent than Majirel Classic. Okay, so you get a lot more translucency. It's great for color neutralization. One of the biggest questions I always get when I'm starting to talk about Glow for somebody for the first time is Glow toner? And my answer is always yes, but. Okay, so yes, you can use Majirel Glow as a toner, but you always have to remember it's ammoniated. And so you are going to shift your base because it's ammoniated. So glossing or toning with Glow is not always my first course of action. You can do it, yes. Okay. Normally, how I use it is 1. It can be a full global application, so we can change her full head of color. You can use the 12.5 volume, which was launched with Glow, and that will give you up to 1 level of lift. Then you can use Majirel 20 volume, which will give you up to 2 levels of lift. And then finally, you can use Majirel 30, which can give you up to 3 levels of lift. So if I was doing a global application, my approach would be to use the 12.5 on her root, and then use the 20 or the 30 on her mids and ends. And so, as I mentioned previously, I already did a Dior root shadow on her, so I'm going to be using Majirel Glow with 20 and 30, 2 different formulas. So just as a reminder, I'm using L18 with 30 volume, and D01 with 20 volume. All right, so I have it all dispensed already. We just got to do a little shaking. So I love my Majirel shakers. All right, this is how Majirel is intended to be mixed. Okay, you get a little bit of a workout, right? You can work up those loose underarms, but this is how you are supposed to mix Majirel. Why, you ask? Why use a shaker? Well, here's the answer. When you use a shaker, mixing the color, it becomes creamier and thicker because you're not introducing oxygen to the color if you were using a whisk, because that's more of a whipping action, and you're introducing oxygen into your color, and it doesn't need it. Right, so, all right, there's one. Here's number two. Got to keep them separated here so I know what I'm working with. Once they start to oxidize a little bit, once I open them, we're going to be able to tell the difference, but all right. So one of the things, and I'll just show you how creamy that is, just nice and close real fast. All right, so that's how creamy it is. And then when you're using the shaker, you just take a brush, scoop out the excess. All right, I'm only going to do this for one of them, just because we have a short amount of time together today. All right. Here is the other one. This is the LO1. You can see it's a little bit more blue. All right, and so my Majirel or L'Oreal Professionnel color brushes. I'm also going to be using quick mesh as my separation instead of perforated plastic. Just one of my particular favorites. And a tail comb. And so basically what I'm going to do is just going to start to take a look and figure out what is the best pattern for her. So she has a light piece here. So I like using the facial structure in terms of helping me find things. So I typically like going from the root of the eyebrow here, the top of the eyebrow, and making my first section. Right, then it's connecting to the face. Now, if you have a different way of doing it, that's fine too. This is just my particular way. Just gonna pin that out of the way. So I have a nice section to work with here. So she has a beautiful highlight here from her, she has a beautiful highlight here from her Blonde Studio 9 application. So I'm not gonna interfere with that. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna do a 2-point painting, a double point. So I'm gonna paint on the top of this surface, here and here. And I'm gonna go with my 30 volume formula, which is the L18. So load my brush. All right, now I'm applying it like a balayage. So I am still just surface painting. I'm just gonna be covering a little bit more of the surface with some really good saturation. Okay, you gotta keep it nice and taut, just like you would with a regular balayage. So now I'm just putting in my points, doing a little blending. Right, strengthen this one right here. The points still need to be strong, just like a balayage. And then everything else will lend itself to being strong. Okay, so I've worked on zone 1 and zone 2. Those are all going to be surface painted. Now I'm going to introduce my quick mesh, which I'm going to tuck under so that I can do my complete saturation on zone 3. All right, so it's going to hold it into place for a second while I get the color on here. And there we go. So once you get the color on, it sticks to the mesh. So it's not a really complicated process. All right, perfect. So that's one. This is what it looks like. I'll just give you a little close up. All right, get my light here. There we go. So that's one. And then I'm gonna sandwich this. So again, I want to protect it from the level or the piece that's going to be laying on top. All right. So now she's sandwiched. I did do a diagonal back section, so we want the color to go away from her face. All right, now I'm going to take another piece, and I'm just going to use this first one as the guide. So let me turn her. All right. So now what I want is, this is going to be her, this is her pop piece, right? And I don't want her pop piece to be dark. So this one I'm going to separate out for a moment, all right? Because we want to get that one nice and light. So we're going to double up on that L18 formula and do another piece right there. Okay. Let's just come around. And again, I am just going to go in, create my points. All right, I want to go to close to the root here, especially it's right near her face. We still need to work clean, right? All right, so I got a little excess here. So we'll work on our blend, and then I'm going to go back and strengthen this right here and get nice and close. So what I did do is I left a little bit right in front of it that's going to be her natural color, just so that we're not going to see a harsh grow out. All right. Now, I'm just going to work on the second point, and then this is all getting blended. So now the great thing about using the mesh is I can actually just drop this one right onto that mesh that's already there and get this saturated. Oh, sorry. Keep going out of frame. There we go. So I want to get this nice and saturated. What questions do you guys have about glow? Is there any questions that you are thinking about that I may be able to address in the end? If you have some, drop them in the comments so that we can get back to you on them. All right, this piece is done. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover that with the mesh as well. All right, and now I'm gonna work on a piece that's gonna be part of my dark color. All right, so I have two pieces of light, and then I'm gonna accentuate those or solidify them, adding more dimension by adding a dark piece. All right, so just swing this back. And then we're going to take a look at it, right? Where should it start? Should it start directly behind this one, this light piece, or should we have a break? And my gut is telling me that I should have a little break. All right, so I'm going to leave a little bit of that out. And now I'm going to make a nice dark piece here, again using a 2-point. Hello guys, thanks for joining us. If you are just joining us, I am doing a tutorial on dimensional painting using Majirel Glow, which is a new permanent hair color line for L'Oreal Professionnel, with 4 times more translucency, 50% more neutralization than Majirel Classic. Okay, so the 2 formulas that I'm using, just as a recap, I'm using the L, which stands for light, 1/8, which is a blue mocha. The lights are meant to be used on levels 6 through 9. And then the color that I'm using right now is a D01. All right, so the D stands for dark, and the dark levels are levels 2 through 5. So you may be looking at my model or mannequin here, Erica, or Ellie, her name's Ellie, I don't know why I said Erica. I've been working on an Erica all week, so. Anyway, the dark formula that I made up is 26 grams of D01 and 39 grams of 20 volume Magi Creme. And then what I did was I mixed in a 1/4 of a tube of Majirel Clear directly on top of that mixture as a mix, okay? So basically what I'm doing is I'm softening the intensity of that darkness, but I'm still gonna get some really great neutralization from it. Essentially what this is creating is a dark glow light, All right, so these are light glow lights, and this is a dark glow light. So glow lights are one of my favorite services to offer and ways to teach glow because it's super versatile. It gives you an opportunity to introduce some fun because we do have some fun colors in Majirel Glow. We have a L20, which is a triple violet. We have an L21 of violet blue. We just launched a L triple blue, so an L10. So there are ways to introduce some fun, but we're still not talking mermaid hair, right? So this is a very sophisticated, very chic way to introduce color to your guests in a very subtle, very French manner, okay? So we are a French company, as you know, coloring the world for 111 years now. Majirel Glow has the two patented ingredients that Majirel Classic has. Has the Incel complex, which helps to protect the hair and lock in the moisture. And then now it also it contains ionin G, which we can now make the claim that if you've had not colored your hair before, you have virgin hair, and then you color your hair with Majirel, your hair is 45% more healthy after your first color than it was before you were colored because of that ionin G molecule, which is a conditioning agent that we're depositing inside the hair with the color dye. Pretty cool, right? We've never been able to say the number before, and so we've finally gotten to the stage where we can, and everyone's talking about it. All right, so again, I have two light glow lights, one dark glow light. It's time for another light one. So I'm just gonna rock this back. Now don't forget, I did a shadow root, so that is why I'm not going to the roots here. It's with purpose, right, that I am working. And that's the best way to work, right? Because we want to work smarter and not harder. And so when you work with purpose, that is the best way to achieve working smarter and not harder. You know, pre-plan your work, create a pattern in your mind of what you want to do. So this is a really nice section here. But again, I'm not touching my shadow root area. I'm going to start my paint down here. So I'm going back to my L18, blue mocha. All right, I did use the L28, which is the violet mocha, on one of my coworkers, and I honestly fell in love with the color. It was really beautiful. She loved it, and it was just a nice, unique color that we were able to achieve with her hair without using lightener, right? So we don't always need to go to lightener to create lightness and blondes, right? We have so many different ways of creating blonde within the Majirel portfolio, but even within the complete L'Oreal Professionnel portfolio. All right. So this is a quick mesh that I'm using to separate my pieces. Now, you could use cotton and perforated plastic, so if you choose, that's perfectly fine. I just happen to love these. I love how they feel. I think they're super easy to put in. The color sticks to them really well. And then I just create sandwiches, right? And if you have, if you want to try and keep green, then you can actually repurpose these and clean them with washing them off and sanitizing them so they could be used again for another guest if you so choose. But it's another way of being green, right? It's the world we live in right now. All right, and so this is a nice piece here. I'm gonna just scoop this out. I'm gonna leave that behind. And I'm gonna do this little smaller piece here, just so you can see. I'll turn it around a little bit more. Okay. I'm gonna make this a dark piece. So she has 2 lights, 1 dark, another light, and then another dark. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna repeat the pattern on the other side. The other side is heavier, so there are going to be more pieces on that side, of course. So I'll get this side painted and then we'll start taking some questions. Hope you guys have been enjoying what it is we're going through, learning more about Majirel Glow. All right, I did just do a Majirel Glow tutorial earlier this week. That's available on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out. All right, put my mesh in so I can saturate those ends. Close this up. All right, and there she is. So that's the one side. Again, this side's heavier. I'm gonna repeat the pattern. So I'm gonna start with the 2 lights, the L118. I'm gonna do a dark, and then I'm gonna repeat the pattern. But again, remember, she's heavier on this side. So there's probably gonna be 3 to 4 more pieces painted on this side. So let's check and see what kind of questions we got going. Scroll back to the front here. I really appreciate all your time. You know, these days, one of the things that we can do to keep ourselves busy and to feel normal is to talk about hair, right? We love it. And we're in the process right now where we're missing it. What does the clear do is the first question that we got. So great question, Eden Salon. Thank you so much for that. So Majirel Clear basically will help to dilute a tone. So for instance, with me using the D01, the dark natural blue, which is meant for levels 2 through 5, by adding in a 1/4 tube of clear, it's going to help me lighten that into the L family. So it's going to help me get into the 6-7 range so that I can introduce a beautiful, rich, natural brown blue, and but it's going to soften the intensity of the pigment so that it's not going to necessarily read blue, right? It's going to read natural cool. And that's what you can use the clear for, is to dilute a color, to make it a level lighter, or to take a dark color into a light color. You can also turn, for instance, the L.11, which is a beautiful gray. So it's by introducing some clear is how you can make a beautiful silver. We have a beautiful L22. If you introduce clear in, it takes it from being a purple more into the lavender realm. So that is how you use clear. So great question, thank you for that. I asked a question here for repeating the formula, so absolutely. First formula is an L, so light 1-8, which is a blue mocha. And I used 26 grams of L18. I used 39 grams of 30 volume Magi Creme. Mixed that together. All right. Then my second formula is D01. So dark levels, which is levels 2 through 5, natural blue. And I used that with 20 volume. Again, I also used 26 grams of color and 39 grams of developer. And on that particular one, because I used a D, she's a level 7. So technically it would be too dark for her, but unless I wanted that, right? You can add depth and darkness if you wanted to. I don't necessarily want to add that much darkness. So that's why I introduced a 1/4 tube of clear into that formula. So it's going to take me from being in the dark realm, the 2 through 5, it's going to bring me up into the L range, which is 6 through 9. Okay, it's a great question. Thank you for that. Anna, thank you. You can also write questions in the question box. I appreciate that. All right, so I see 2 there. So I'll go back to those once I scroll through. Low light, highlight technique. So, what is it? ACXIE 1971, great question. So essentially what I'm doing is a low light and a dark, right? A highlight and a low light. But I'm using Majirel Glow, which is a permanent hair color, to do that. So my light, glow light, is the L18, and my dark glow light is the D.101. All right, so there are no levels to glow, right? They live within a dark family or a light family. All right. Oh, I think I missed one, so just scrolling through here. Hello from Greece. Hello. All right. These are great questions, guys. Just want to make sure that I can get to all of them. What color did you use in the first section? The first section was the light, so the L18 was the first. And thank you for answering her. That was awesome. What client would you recommend this technique on? Also, great question. Anyone. All right, you can add low lights and glow lights using Majirel Glow to any client. So if you're doing a highlight service, normally you would go in with your lightener and you would just now alternate foils with lightener, glow, lightener, glow, lightener, glow, and you can do a mix like I did using lights and darks to create a multi-dimensional look. And so that's how you would use glow. And you can use it for highlights or for balayage. So great question. Let's see here. How many levels can you lift with glow and which developers you can use? So great question. Just as a reminder here, let me step back for a second and grab them for you. So the Majirel Glow dedicated developer, the 12.5 volume, is a pastel developer. That will give you one level of lift. Primarily what we're using this for out in the field is typically for the root area, so we're not getting a lot of lift at the root. And then for the rest, mids and ends, we are using either 20 volume Majicreme for 2 levels of lift or 30 volumes of Majicreme for up to 3 levels of lift. All right, so you are using Majicreme, 12.5, 20, or 30. So great question. All right. Did you mix the L18 with a classic shade? I did not. However, that is a great question, which leads me into letting you know that Majirel Glow can indeed be mixed with Majirel Classic. For instance, if you were doing a shadow root and you wanted to do it with Majirel, if you went in with, say, a Majirel Classic 6N and you wanted to create a smoky root, what I would do is use half Majirel Classic 6N and half Majirel Glow L.11. And that's going to give you more of a smoky shadow root. So you can intermix them. It does affect the amount of coverage, however. If you mixed half and half, instead of getting 100% coverage, you now only get 30% gray blending. All right. What's my Instagram? Great, thank you so much. My Instagram is Hair by Dave. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook with the same handle. Thank you so much. So yes, you control the lift with the amount of developer. Now let's go to our question box here. Questions in the boxes are, what do the L and the D stand for? So L stands for light, which is levels 6 through 9. And the D stands for dark, which is levels 2 through 5. All right. Come to a close here. How intense do the tones show up on the hair? These tones, because they are pure pigment without level, are very intense. And so as you're playing with them, always try it with a little bit of clear first, or do some sampling on swatches before you go to try it on a client, just so that you can have comfortability in knowing that you're going to achieve the color you want. It's one of my suggestions. Can you explain why you chose to paint with these formulas instead of another L'Oreal product? I chose to use these because it's a new tool in our toolbox, and Majirel Glow is unlike any color on the market today. And so that makes people a little shy from using it. And what I wanted to show today is there's no reason to shy away from it. Embrace it. You can take your color and your service to the next level, giving yourself and your client a unique fingerprint. All right, so thank you all for joining me today. What I'm gonna do is finish up my Ellie, and then I will show the final blowout. We're either gonna attach it to the end of this video or paste, put in the after photos in our stories for you to check out. Again, thank you so much. I'm at Hair by Dave, Regional Educator for L'Oreal Professionnel. Have a good day.